Hey guys, what's up? So by now I think we've all accepted the fact that we probably won't be seeing any X-Men characters for the launch of Marvel's Capcom Infinite. We might see some DLC package for X-Men characters down the lines, but even if you didn't believe the character leak lists that have been popping up before and such, the fact that we haven't seen an X-Men character up to this point makes it pretty damn obvious. And many of us knew before, like the game was even announced, that there'd be no X-Men characters, so we were, I guess, emotionally prepared, you could say. And besides, with the amount of memes going on just on Chun-Li's face alone, nobody's really talking about it much anymore. Well, until recently. So, in the same Gamespot interview where Capcom directly addressed, Chun-Li's face and the current criticism on the presentation of the game, Gamespot also directly asked about the absence of the X-Men characters. Now, the response to this question was godlike, but let me read off the GameSpot question for you guys first. So, they said, there was recently a leak about the characters, and people picked up on the fact that a lot of the classic characters aren't there, specifically the X-Men characters like Magneto and Sentinel. How do you guys feel about people being hung up on that? Now, this is a tricky question, and definitely have to tread carefully on the answer. So, Combofiend replies to this first, and I'll read the first sentence of his reply, because it's good. And he says, if you were to actually think about it, these characters are just functions. And just like that, a brand new meme was born. The PR nightmare continues. It's just been exploding right now. We got functions versus functions. We got even like a video of one of the mods from Marvel 3 just showing like blank characters fighting each other. People using extreme examples of like red versus blue, and it's just brutal. And if you think about it though, maybe it was just a clever way to stop people from talking about Chun-Li's face all the time. And now we're just talking about this function shit. Anyways, let me read off the rest of the response. You guys need to hear the entire thing. So, Combofiend replies and says, if you were to actually think about it, these characters are just functions. They're just doing things. Magneto, case in point, is a favorite because he has an 8-way dash and he's really fast, right? So our technical players, all they want to do is triangle jump and that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? Nova can do the same thing. Captain Marvel can do the same thing. Ultron can do the same thing. Go ahead and try them out. It's just the functions that people are associating with the character, and there's no shortage of that. We made sure that all proper playstyles can be represented with our current roster. The design team has been looking at that very closely. We wanted to make sure that if a legacy character doesn't happen to make the roster this time, that playstyle will still be represented. That somebody has associated themselves with Magneto wouldn't be lost coming into this title. Yikes! I can definitely see how this would piss some people off. Even there is characters that, borrow the exact same moveset as the X-Men characters, that definitely won't compensate. From a casual standpoint, that definitely won't fly. Roster is extremely important for, presentation in a fighting game. The look and personality of the characters almost always come first, and I say that as someone who values gameplay over everything. Sure, in the competitive world, character functions, they do indeed matter above all else, right? You want to play a character that can compete and is really good, and it's also normal to play a character that suits your playstyle. If you want to rush down or zone, for example, you'll definitely eventually seek these characters out. But there's a large attachment that people build with their characters. And it's the main reason why everyone is so angry that there's no X-Men characters in the first place in the game. Remember, a large majority of the characters in these crossover games are not from fighting games. They're not originally fighting game characters. They're from comic books. They're from extremely popular IPs from Capcom. Let's bring back Chun-Li's face into this. Even though Chun-Li is in the game and still for the most part seems to play the same, right? Her function is the same. It was before. Many players, are probably going to be discouraged to play her if they did like playing her before, because, not because of her functionality, but because how she's presented, right? She looks ugly. Now, I'm sure we can all agree, or at least believe, that Capcom had no control whatsoever, on having X-Men characters in this game or not. I'm sure it's pretty obvious, right? So, for GameSpot to ask this question to them, they're just pulling their leg, right? It's just a funny PR question that they have to answer. But like, you know, obviously if Capcom had control, they would put X-Men characters in the game. But, you know, another thing they could have did is, you know, instead of focusing on having characters replicate the functions, you know, such as Captain Marvel having a triangle jump, or, you know, Black Panther will probably play like Wolverine, for example. I think they should have had a much stronger launch roster to distract everybody with. You know, Mega Man X is great, for sure. You know, Sigma is great, even though he's the DLC character. And if the leak on Jeddah and Monster Hunter is true, that's awesome. Really good. But I think even more would be better in this situation, especially if Capcom has no control over the Marvel roster, it seems, right? You know, Leon, Nero, rival school characters. Even some of the very popular characters from Marvel's Capcom 3 are missing, like Virgil, for example. I feel like if the advertising like campaign on this game, you know, started out showing all the brand new characters to the game first, it would have been like a great way of showing, like, look, it's time for other characters to have their turn in the spotlight. You know what I mean? But with so many returning characters, it just feels underwhelming, right? It just doesn't compensate for the fact that we're missing X-Men characters. But if we had all these like hard-hitting, brand new, like, you know, Capcom characters that we haven't seen in a really long time introduced to the game, it would have been a great distraction from it, because we would say, well, at least we have this character, right? But with so many returning characters, it just, yeah, it just feels like we're missing things more than we're getting things. So let me know how you guys feel about this. Do you guys think that if they maintain the functionality of the X-Men characters into other characters, is that enough, right? Or is it actually the characters that you guys love and play, and it's not actually how they play that matters? You know, from the casual standpoint, I'm sure that's a very easy question. But let me know, and hopefully Capcom will release some trailers on some brand new characters that we haven't seen in a while, like Jeddah and Monster Hunter would be awesome. Especially right before the game launches. We need those kind of trailers to get this hype train going rather than more memes. So yeah, don't forget to like the video, guys, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. So of course, I'll keep you guys posted on more fighting game news in the future. So till then, guys, take care.